Right now at 5, Reservoir Rescue. See the moment 2 officers rush to save a woman struggling to stay afloat.
A 91-year-old woman and her son killed in a fire. Neighbors describe their terrifying escape from the burning building.
New details on Broadway's COVID policies, what you won't have to bring to some theaters much longer. Plus.
There it is, the Mets home opener, the excitement, the honors, and the highlights from the celebrations at Citi Field. Good evening, I'm Dick Brennan.
And I'm Alice Gaynor. Maurice and Christine are off tonight. Well, it's the day Mets fans have been waiting for, and you know, the team actually, they did not disappoint. They ended the home opener with a win against the Arizona Diamondbacks.
And we have team coverage tonight. Steve Overmyer is with the fans. But first, Otis is at Citi Field with more on the game and the honors for a couple of baseball legends. Oh, what an amazing baseball day, right?
It certainly was, Dick and Alice, and it was a blue and orange heaven here in Queens as Met fans turned out in droves, almost 44,000 of them, to root on the home team. And what better way to start your home portion of your schedule than with a 5-2 record on the road.
And your 2022 New York Mets.
And such a special opening day on multiple fronts. Of course, April 15th is Jackie Robinson Day, today marking the 75th anniversary of Robinson breaking baseball's color barrier. Everybody throughout baseball honoring number 42 by wearing his jersey. And members of the Jackie Robinson Foundation were introduced with the Mets starting 9 to represent the 9 values that Jackie Robinson lived by.
Representing the value of justice, treating all people fairly, regardless of background. Jamari Selders.
And of course, before the game was a long-awaited unveiling of Tom Seaver's statue, making the Citi Field debut of new manager Buck Showalter all the more special.
It's one of those days you probably reflect on after it's over and everything. There's just so many things going on, but it's an unbelievable historical history from a history of baseball standpoint. And you're talking about Tom and Jackie. It's an honor to be in a place where you can honor people like that.
I'm excited, and wearing number 42 today, it's definitely special for sure. And being here from my home fans, I'm super excited. I'm happy to be here. Looking forward to it for sure.
As for the game, 4th inning, Mets up 2-0. Robinson Cano after missing the 2021 season for a PED suspension.
Robinson Cano on Jackie Robinson Day hits an opposite field home run.
And then in the 5th, Francisco Lindor hit a 2-run bomb. And on an absolute picture-perfect day here at Citi Field, the first-place Mets send the fans home happy.
He struck him out, and the ball game is over. A home opening victory for the Mets for the 7th time in the last 8 years.
Yeah, picture perfect indeed as far as the weather and as far as the Mets themselves. They had great starting pitching, timely hitting and home runs, and also the bullpen was solid. Could this be the start of something big here in Queens? Well, there's 80 more games here at Citi Field left, so we shall soon see. Reporting live from Citi Field, Otis Livingston. Dick and Alex, back to you in the studio.
Fingers are crossed all across Queens and across New York City.
But hey, off to a good start. So.
Great start, yeah. Thanks, Otis. And as you just mentioned, it was an amazing day for baseball. Clear and sunny skies, the perfect backdrop for the Mets home opener.
That's right, and as Otis mentioned, a sellout crowd of almost 44,000 fans came to cheer on their beloved Mets at Citi Field. And for that part of the story, we check in with Steve Overmyer with more. Steve?
Yeah, Dick and Alice, the fans are just now filing out of Citi Field and filing past the new Tom Seaver statue, which greets fans as they come into this ballpark. I mean, opening day is always such a special holiday for Mets fans, but even more so this year because it was the Tom Seaver statue dedication and because it was Jackie Robinson Day. This is a day that Mets fans just couldn't miss.
Oh my God, I have not stopped smiling since 7 o'clock this morning. I woke up and I was like, it's opening day, let's go, we gotta go.
The opening day experience at Citi Field can only be felt by walking around.
We have a bet going on who'll get more high fives today.
Let's go, Brandon!
I'm up 69 to 32.
Wow.
Crazy bunch of people. They really are. Die hard to the end.
This is the 60-year anniversary for the Mets, and over the years, fans have endured, but they've always loved them nonetheless, and continue to welcome new fans at their first game. What's the best part about the game?
When it gets strikes, two strikes.
How does the strike 'em out chant go? How does it go?
Hey!
The anticipation of the day started with a silk sheet draped over a bronze statue and a widow still grieving but grateful.
Well, hello, Tom. It's so nice to have you here where you belong.
The new Tom Seaver statue showcases the franchise in his iconic drop-and-drive delivery as he unleashes another strike.
You know what? The Mets are always the underdogs, and Tom Seaver allowed us to cheer for the Mets and bring us a World Series.
In 1969, it may have been a miracle. This year's team is hoping to return to the Fall Classic with a fan base brimming with confidence.
You guys are probably on spring break, so it's not like you're playing hooky from school or anything today.
No, we do that in October. No. Players on this team, they gravitate, Jerry.
And by the way, he's talking about October baseball, which means postseason baseball, Dick and Alice. And the Mets are certainly contenders for not only the postseason, but for going a long way in that postseason. And right now, by the way, they are at the top of the division. It's early in the season, but things are going great for this team. From Citi Field, Steve Overmeyer, CBS 2.
I can almost smell the hot dogs from here and the, all the good ballpark food.
Steve, what could possibly go wrong with the Mets? Never.
Oh, you stop it.
I know.
Don't even.
The cynical Mets fan you're talking about right
I know. Sorry about that. All right, Steve, thanks very much. And coming up later in the broadcast, more on Jackie Robinson Day and the tributes honoring the life and legacy of Robinson right here in New York City.
Well, it was a great day weather-wise for baseball fans, but how's the weekend looking for Passover and Easter? That's a big question.
Yeah, it's tough to string 2 days together. John Elliott, can we do that possibly this weekend?
Well, in the words of the late, great Steve Allen, this could be the start of something big.
Very good.
Except weather-wise, where we are going to see some big changes. Let's take a look outside, and it looks fabulous. I hope you had some time to enjoy it. Lucky enough to go to the game, you're probably now watching right now, but all around the area, just delightful. In the park, still sunny and 63. Look at the numbers around the area. City actually hit 70 degrees, and we had a few more observations right at 70, but the normal high this time of the year is 62, so it was in the win column weather-wise, too. We hit 70 right there at 241, but we have some changes in the works. Tonight, no issues. Got tickets to another show, or you've got some things to do, or maybe it's a travel night or Passover tonight as well. All of that quiet, but it's rather convoluted and complicated as we work our way into your Saturday. So just a heads up right now, Saturday will continue to cool, but we have the chance of a shower or even a thunderstorm, and that's a cold front, so it's going to be quite a bit cooler for Easter Sunday. We'll have the Futurecast and the rest of your 7-day in a bit. Right now, that will send it right back to the desk.
All right.
Thanks, John.
A 5-year-old child found unresponsive and unable to move. The tragic 911 call on Long Island that came in a year ago has been deemed a murder.
CBS 2's Jennifer McLogan reports the boy's own mother and her boyfriend are the suspects.
Inside this apartment, Heritage Gardens on Leroy Avenue in Brentwood, the unthinkable occurred.
This poor kid suffered. This was a terrible, terrible case. This was a shocking case of abuse.
April of last year, 5-year-old King Owusu died in Suffolk County. The medical examiner found blunt force trauma throughout his body. Now, a year later, his mother, Valerie Owusu, and her boyfriend, Emmanuel Adaye, arrested and charged with murder second degree. They are held without bail.
We hold people that commit evil acts and bring them to justice.
A younger sibling not harmed is in custody of Child Protective Services. The suspects were arrested at Suffolk Family Court, where they were called for a hearing. The couple's been on the move. They just visited the Republic of Ghana, moved to Orange, New Jersey from LaFrac City, Queens. The abuse discovered at the Brentwood apartment of Emmanuel Adaye's parents, where the 911 call was made. An ambulance brought the boy, King Owusu, from Brentwood here to South Shore University Hospital, but internal injuries were so grave, doctors were unable to save the life of the child.
He was beaten, and it just breaks my heart. Last year, this time, COVID was rampant, so the ambulance coming up and down was a norm.
I remember seeing a lot of cops in the area wow, that's so sad.
There's a lot of kids around, you know, and the people seem nice that live here, so it's very, you know, shocking.
Anxious residents were told Owusu works in a consignment shop. Her boyfriend Adaye is a driver for hire. Their arrest delayed, proving the abuse took place here and not in Ghana. On Long Island, Jennifer McLogan, CBS 2 News.
Well, Valerie Owusu and Emmanuel Adaye pleaded not guilty. They have no prior arrests. They have separate attorneys, and both deny ever beating the child.
A 91-year-old woman and her son died after a fire at an apartment building in Chinatown. Cell phone video shows flames shooting from a window in the building on Mulberry Street. The fire department says the fire started around 3:45 this morning in a fifth-floor apartment. Sources say the elderly woman had dementia, her 52-year-old son had Down syndrome, and that their home health aide returned to the apartment to find it on fire. Residents rushed to escape the building.
Once we opened the front door, we saw a fire in the apartment across the hall, a lot of smoke.
The firefighters came, they knocked open a window, and it was like a fireball that just kind of erupted out of the window.
The aide escaped unharmed. 2 residents and 2 firefighters have minor injuries.
Now to the pandemic and changes ahead for Broadway. One major restriction could be eased for theater goers. The current mask mandate is now extended through May 31st, and the vaccination requirement continues through April 30th. But after that, each Broadway show will determine separately if ticket holders will need a vaccination to get into the theater.
There's a new weapon in the war against COVID. The FDA granted emergency authorization for its first-of-its-kind breathalyzer test that can pick up infections quicker than ever before. CBS 2's Christina Fan shows us how it works.
After 2 years of sticking swabs up our noses, a less intrusive COVID test is on the market. A patient breathes into a tube hooked up to this machine and waits just 3 minutes for a result.
For the most part, it's going to be the easiest and fastest collection method for folks out there.
Dr. Anthony Napolitano, who runs diagnostic company Wellstand Health, likened the new device to a rapid antigen test on steroids. The Inspect IR breathalyzer is about the size of a piece of carry-on luggage. According to the FDA, it's 91.2% accurate at identifying positive test samples and nearly 100% accurate at identifying negative test samples.
If you look at a concert or sporting event where you need to move a lot of people through the doors very quickly and you want to make sure that no one has COVID, certainly getting results in 3 minutes a person is way better than 15 or 20.
The machine works by detecting chemical compounds associated with coronavirus in breath samples. It can be used in doctors' offices, hospitals, and mobile testing sites under the supervision of a licensed healthcare provider. The new emergency use authorization comes as COVID cases increase across the U.S. New York among the states with the highest rates per capita over the past 14 days. But don't expect antigen and PCR tests to disappear anytime soon. The company can only manufacture about 100 instruments per week, and if a breathalyzer test comes back positive, the FDA says it should be checked with a PCR test. Christina Fan, CBS 2 News.
Well, still ahead here at 5, a group of transit workers honored for their heroism during the subway mass shooting, and why more than one person is getting reward money for the arrest in the case. Plus,
this is a moment in American history, right? Prohibition 2.0 is ending.
Recreational marijuana sales start in New Jersey in just 6 days. How medical dispensaries are preparing for the increased demand.
And officers who happen to be in the right place at the right time see the daring rescue of a woman struggling in a reservoir.